Good evening, everyone. I welcome all of you to the second Exun Talk session. Founded in 1992, Exun is the computer science and technology club at Delhi Public School, Arkipuram. The word Exun is short for Experts Unlimited. We hope these sessions are enlightening. We have a variety of speakers, and you can check out the full lineup on the Exun website. Now, I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, Mr. André Cardoso. Andre is a top game dev YouTuber from Denmark and an official content creator for Unity. His channel, Mix and Jam, has over 100,000 subscribers. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Cardoso to deliver his talk.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope everyone is staying safe and everyone's happy and just happy to be around here. Just the introduction just said, my name is Andre, and I should probably turn these notifications off. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. So I currently live in Denmark, working for Unity Technologies. I'm originally from Brazil, and I'm a game developer and designer in the YouTube channel called Mix and Jam, where I recreate mechanics from other games in Unity. And hope we have a nice talk. I'm going to go really fast because I want to take more time around with with sort of comments and just Q&A in general. So I'm going to go really fast, but hopefully today I'll give you some tips on how to sort of improve the journey of learning game development. I found some, I would say, tricks and tips and tricks along the way that really helped me learn more, learn faster, and have some sort of meaningful result, which is always great, right? So let me just skip my next slide. So as you know, if you seen any content that I publish, this is my main project, which is called Mix and Jam. Is a YouTube channel that I have in which I recreate mechanics from other games. And the purpose of it is for learning and also sharing. So the idea is that I do this so that I can learn new mechanics, new stuff, and how to sort of understand how developers did things in the back end. And I also share the code with the community so that everyone can sort of learn as well. And also the videos, of course. But yeah, this is basically my biggest project as of right now. And I'm super proud that it has gained visibility and it's such a cool thing to share with the community. So, it's in general, it's a really exciting project. And also at Unity, I'm also doing sort of a similar style and approach for content. I'm working on Unity as a content developer. And one of my main projects right now at Unity is called the Prototype Series, which is a series of videos in which we take multiple features of Unity to sort of show and inspire people to say, hey, you may want to learn about the individual features that come up every now and then for Unity, right? The new technology, the new features. But what if, how do you practically put them together to make them work, to build an actual game? So right now, this is my main project in Unity, and it's also super exciting, and I'm also super happy to have the opportunity to just do that. But of course, through that journey, so before I reached not the level, but let's say the point of doing, let's say, Mix and Jam or even working at Unity, I had a long way. And these are just some videos of some prototypes I've built, prototypes or small games I've built to, like everyone else, you do small games, you do little projects, you do little things, which all of these help me learn. But I would even go as far to say that there was one thing behind even these little projects that really helped me learn as much as I could. And I will explain you why. But basically, first image here, first video is a project I did for when I was learning how to code. Second project was my thesis for my design graduation. And the third one is, let's say, the first prototype for what would become Mix and Jam, was because I was recreating this thing from Mario Odyssey. I just wanted to see how I would, how I was going to be able to do it. and this is the first thing I've done. Um, it was literally just a project. The idea of the videos would come later. But anyways, how do I think that the things I've experienced have helped me during the way of game development? So, if any of you are like interested or want to learn or are already learning game development, how do you enhance that? And I'll tell you a personal story here. When I studied, when I was starting to learn game design, I was very nervous. And as a Brazilian kid, I did an exchange program that was provided by the government, so I had an opportunity to study. Like someone gave me opportunity to study game design for real, and so I was very nervous, and I didn't know how to react, what to do. And so I remember just going to this class and being very nervous because I don't know, like this was this American teacher that would teach us everything. And the teacher, which was Benjamin Narskov, he started the class, and I thought it was going to be very serious. So I like took a notebook and I was like ready to write things down. And he only had 2 slides. The slides were, you want to make good games, and the next slide was make games every day. And it was kind of crazy for me that moment where it's like, wait, what? And that was the class, because after that he just ended the slides and just continued, let's say. And it was a very impactful moment because it made me realize how important it is for us to keep making games. Now, this methodology, let's call it this method, was applied not only to this two slide presentation, right? But it was also applied to the fact of how he taught. So I'll just give you a brief example here of some projects I've made during the game design class I had with Ben and other teachers, but like mostly Ben that was guiding that process, where every week where he would teach us one feature, right? We would have to bring on the next week a homework that was built around that specific feature that we've just learned. And honestly, I have found that this is the best way of learning ever. If you quote unquote force yourself to do something with the thing you've just learned, you will not only practice that, but you will sort of establish that process in your brain. So in the first picture here, you have I've the he would just teach us about physics in Unity, so how to use rigid bodies. So we did a little Goldberg machine. The second one, he teaches how to spawn things, how to make things appear and disappear. So I made this little space shooter. And with each feature introduced, I felt like I was learning more and more. And I could bring knowledge from the first lesson to the third lesson and so on. And this was a brilliant way to learn. It was just fantastic. Now, how do you, and once you sort of know everything, which I don't think it's really possible to know everything, you're always learning, and everyone should always be learning. I should always be learning, you should always be learning. But let's say you now know everything, right? How do you still get to feel that method, that practice of still learning and finding reasons to learn? Well, the answer is not too complicated. Game jams. I put here some pictures of game jams that I've joined during these past 4 or 5 years that I've been, trying out game development in general. And for those of you who doesn't know what a game jam is a game development marathon where you just develop a game in 48 hours, a week. It doesn't really matter. It's just the fact that you're developing a game in a really short time. And why are game jams great? Game jams are great because they allow you to develop, to have the full experience of development, which means pre-production, production, and then sort of publishing, right? You have the stress of working with others. You have the bless of working with others. There's so much around it, right? You learn so much, and there's no such thing as failure. I've been to multiple game jams where I didn't deliver the game at the end, but I still had a lot of fun, met a lot of awesome people. As you can see, there's always people around. Of course, in the times we live now, of course, those events happen online, so you can still do it. A major game jam that exists is Global Game Jam, and I hope you all heard of it. But if you haven't, Global Game Jam is a game jam that happens in the entire world, and multiple places host them. So Say you live in Denmark and you may have a university of technology, and now they hosted the global game jam in their university so that they are providing the resources for you to just be there, use the internet or whatever. But global game jam is a good one to keep in mind. It happens once a year and it's always amazing. But if you don't want to do the global game jam and you just want to find a specific game jam, I swear to God, in HIO, there are so many game jams happening at the same time. And trust me, game jams are the best way to learn, to meet new people, to also fail, because failure is important, right? You're going to learn and do stuff. And actually, I just saw here that I hosted a game jam, for example. So even you can host a game jam if you want. If you have a group of 10 friends and 20 friends and want to do it remote or online, you just host them in HIO. Um, and so, cool. There's a lot of game jams. So keep that in mind for sure. Now, one thing that I truly believe, and I just want to mention really fast, is I really believe that once you learn, once you know the stuff, or you feel like you've learned something a little bit more than usual, I believe that giving back is such a great sort of thing to do, right? It's so important for us to help each other, right? Especially if we are in a community or an industry which is a little bit I don't know, doesn't have too much access to information. And if you feel like you're the person to do that, that's a great sentiment to have. So, for example, the one key goal I had in mind when I did the Mix and Jam channel was I'm gonna make everything open source. You know, like I'm not the one, like I'm not the expert. I'm just like someone trying to learn. But if something here appears and will help someone, will improve their project, will improve their knowledge, then sure, I'm just going to make it open, then you can learn, which is what I truly believe that is a great sentiment in the community, because I personally use so much from people that give back, you know, from amazing tutorials or even like free assets like Canny assets or free videos like Brackies, right? So there's this idea that keeps the engine of the industry running, which is, hey, why don't we take what we're learning and just throw it out there somehow, right? Another thing I've learned in this journey is how important it is to promote yourself. And I know it's like hard to say this. This is weird to say this, but it's very important to learn how to like present yourself. And being present on Twitter, present on Reddit, and that kind of thing really helps because one, you're not only just promoting, but you're also registering. I don't know if that's a word, but you're also just creating a sort of archive of everything you've done, right? And if you have that since the very beginning, you'll be able to, one, see your evolution, two, to build a portfolio, right? It is very important to know how to take something cool that you're making and always present it. Sometimes we are all very um, let's say, we don't want to show our stuff because it's not good enough, or we don't want to show our stuff because other reasons. But truly, it is so important for you to show it already, because at the end of the day, if you're working with games, your final audience are game players, and they are the ones that will tell you and will give you feedback and will make your game be better, or make your game look better, or whatever they want to give the feedback, or whatever they want to just indicate, hey, maybe you should go this way. Because of the players, you will know. So it's very important for you to promote not only for yourself, right, but promote so that you can become a better game developer. And yeah, so here are some conclusions from all the topics I said. Is first, I really believe that you should involve yourself with the community as soon as possible, which means join the game jams, join the events, join everything that you have if you're really interested in doing game development, because that will help you feel like you have people that you can count on, people that you can learn, or even people that you can pass knowledge to. And of course, like I just said, I feel like you should register and show your process every, every time you can, basically, because then you'll be able to build portfolio, you'll be able to get feedback, you'll be able to do a lot of stuff. And yes, always share knowledge, because I believe that that's what keeps our industry just running. So whenever you learn something, make sure to move that along. I like to believe that that's something I want to do. I still want to keep doing with the channel or with Unity. So I truly believe that that's really important. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much. I don't want to take too much time because I do want to read lots of comments that are coming in right now, and I want to talk. Just being able to have a communication. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, I do share a lot of game development stuff at Andre_MC, as you can see there. And you can also just watch the channel as well, the Mix and Jam channel I mentioned in this talk, which is the channel where I recreate mechanics from other games using Unity. Cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. Everyone that's organized the event, I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for giving me some time to talk about stuff. Now, let's read some of the comments. Oh, there you go. The comments show up in the screen. But okay. Sir, I also do Unity, but sometimes I get stuck in some complicated areas of scripting. I watch Unity tutorials from Backkeys and others, but I'm not able to match them. Get stuck in some errors. Okay, that's a great question, Rushi. Thank you so much for asking that. You will get into errors eventually, right? That is completely normal. I feel like that happens to me. That happens to everyone, really. So I do think that if you can get involved with some sort of community. So for example, last weekend now, I just hosted the game jam from the channel. And a lot of people were first-time jammers, or they were just learning Unity, just learning how to program. And they just asked. They went into the Discord, to the Mix and Jam Discord in this case, but you can find any Mix and Jam, any Discord that will help you, and just ask questions. I know that there are a lot of forums, there are a lot of resources where you can ask questions. So when I was learning, I had to ask my teacher, right? And I do understand that that's a situation where you specifically have someone. In that case, I had someone to be like, hey, how do I do this? But never be afraid of just going to a Discord. I've come to learn that the game development community is very warm and just willing to share, willing to teach. So just go there. If you have a problem, ask someone, and then, hopefully that gets solved. But thank you so much for your question. That was cool. There's another question here. Which language do we need to learn for this? I'm going to assume that you mean like the programming language, right? Now, I think that if you want to work with games, it doesn't really matter what engine you're using, as long as you find some place where you feel comfortable working, right? So there are a lot of not code intensive softwares out there like Game Maker or other options where you don't really need to learn how to code. But if you want to use Unity, which is the one I use, and if you want to learn stuff, you should learn C#, which is the official scripting language from Unity. And like someone mentioned, honestly, just watching Brackeys, watching other stuff, or even Unity official tutorials in our YouTube channel, in the Unity YouTube channel, there's a lot of stuff for scripting and other stuff, which is super helpful. And yeah, I mean, code, I was very afraid of code before because I was just a designer. But when I was introduced to code and I finally switched, like my brain switched, and I realized that code is logic, it was much easier, and it was also a very empowering feeling. I was like, damn, I can learn how to code. That's impressive. Oh my God. So if I can learn, then a lot of people more can. And I hope that everyone feels that way. It's like, it's not impossible. Like, it's not the Matrix. I think it just takes a little bit more dedication. But we live in great times to be able to Google stuff and look at YouTube and stuff. Thank you so much for your question. Sir, what are your opinions about the unique game idea for a game, as something creative may attract a lot of players? Yeah, I mean, having a unique idea definitely is something that helps you a lot when making a game or trying to promote the game to the world. There are actually like a really good talk. I forgot the name of the person right now. I just blanked out. I always blank out. But it's talking about how to make your game have a great hook. If you just Google or YouTube, how to like how to make your game have a great hook, then you can find a video what I'm talking about, which this creator, one of the creators of the Crypt of the Necro Dancer. I'm just gonna leave the notification of Slack over there. Uh, he talks about how to catch the audience interest with an interesting hook in general. And so that's a great video. And I think that a hook is important for sure. Um, and making a game that will allow, because at the end of the day, a lot of it is perception. How do people perceive your game? And if you can somehow make your game perceivable as something different, something unique, something that hasn't been seen before or has been seen before but is being executed beautifully now, I definitely think that helps your game. And if I find that video, I can share it later. It's a great video. But yeah, thank you so much for your question. Let me just hide this. How do I hide this? I thought I disabled the notifications. I can just do this, right? Right. Cool. Awesome. Sorry about that. Rushi, sir, I also do Unity, but sometimes I get stuck with some complicated. Oh, I think this question was already asked. I think so. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm new to all these concepts. Took these up in lockdown. It's very interesting. I love it a lot now. Yeah. That's great to hear. Thank you so much for your feedback. Yeah, there's, you know, it's very hard to be in this period, lockdown on coronavirus. But if you have the ability to take something positive out of it, if if you can, you definitely should learn something interesting. If you can, of course, learn programming, learn game development for sure. I think it's really important, and if you can take the time, it's a perfect moment to be at home and learning that stuff. But thank you so much for your feedback. Okay, let me just adjust my chair. So another comment here from Santripta. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Hey Andre, love your content. I just wanted to know, when you begin a project, how prepared do you try to be? Do you go in with a rough idea or a detailed design doc or something in between? So for projects in Mix and Jam, for example, I do a lot of, we call it like fast prototyping. It's like really ugly testing, because I'm a very visual person and also I focus a lot on gameplay. So I try an idea really fast with the most quote unquote ugly code, so I can try things that, if the gameplay feels nice, or if there's a visual thing that I can already implement that will give me an idea of how this project will look. And that's also for games, I think. I think that the way I work with it is, before even going through a rough, detailed game design document, for example, I really just try to see if the game is fun, if the prototype is exciting, if the prototyping, because at the end of the day, of course, there are people that don't want to make it exactly fun games, but you can already test to see if your idea has a good path forward. So if you want your game to be fun and you play your first prototype and it doesn't feel very fun, then there's no need to build a document before it actually feels fun. So you should just keep tweaking the prototype. That's my vision. That's my opinion. I think I personally always do fast prototyping and see how things work. And if they are smooth and they're nice, I go back into designing a big document or rewriting code so it's more organized, performant, and just in general works better for a production game. But thank you so much for your comment/question. That was great. Ishir asks, what do you think about the impact of popular YouTubers like Brackies? Do you have any thoughts about this, about his departure from YouTube? That's a great question. I think the impact is major because all of these people are going to talk about something different. They're going to provide you some sort of knowledge that, that they found. So like I was mentioning before, it's so important for you to share. All these people that create content, they are, sort of going out of the way to take these things that they know and just put it out there. So I think Brackeys has a legacy that is impressive. Like um, Asbjorn, which is the main guy from Brackeys, he has created such a beautiful platform for people to learn, right? He has created such a great place for people to just learn how to do very specific things. And I know myself, right? And a lot of people depend on those things to sort of exist and sort of learn every day. So I think the impact is huge. And my thoughts about his departure is just, I believe, so I don't know why Slack keeps opening, but anyways, uh, uh, I think that his departure, honestly, because it's hard to say that I don't know him, because I do know the people involved in Brackies, and they've been doing this for the past, I don't know, lots of years, and they've built a legacy, and it's just they just wanted to move on, and that's it. People should be able to do that. That's perfect. So you know. I don't know. Like, it's for me, I never see it as something sad. I see it as something happy, because I know them personally. I know them all. They're all resting now after so many years of hard work. So they're resting. They're being happy. They're with the family. They're with the friends, and they just wanted to move on, which makes totally sense after 10 years of game development on YouTube, which YouTube can be a very draining platform sometimes. So totally understandable. And I'm happy for Brackies. And I'm so happy that he has built something, that he and his team, I mean, have built something that is just, out there, and it's beautiful, basically. But thank you. Thank you for your question. Next one. Should I close Slack? At this point, I'm not gonna even like try to close Slack. I'm just gonna pretend it's not there. Do you think Arnav asks, do you think competitive programming directly, indirectly helps in the coding area of game development? Competitive programming? I don't even think I've actually heard that specifically, but that's very interesting. Competitive programming. Do you mean in the sense where people try to make the best code and they sort of compare codes, like who has the best looking code? If that's what you mean, I think in my opinion, I think it's there's if the code works, it works, right? I don't think there's I don't think there's a best way to do it. I don't think you should put all your time to making the code the most clean and performant ever if you don't need to, right? But I do think, to defend the other side, that it's important to have organized and performing code. So I guess that I believe that it helps more indirectly, because if people talk about like how important it is your code to be pretty and organized, so indirectly I truly believe it helps. But I don't think it helps with the sort of vibe of like, oh no, let's his code is much better and mine is bad. If you actually look into some source code of some popular games, some games are very hacky, like super hacky, but they're extremely popular games. And sometimes it's just the way it is. If it works, it works. And I truly believe in that. So I think that competitiveness is good in like little spoons, but not too much, of course, because there's no right or wrong, really. Yeah, thank you for, I mean, I hope that answered your question, but cool. Thank you for your question. The potato guy asks, sir, is it good to learn game deving by watching YouTube tutorials and / or other platforms, or should a person attend a one-on-one class? Great question. Thank you so much for your question. I think that YouTube has a lot of stuff. I think that not only YouTube has a lot of stuff, like I know that Unity, for example, in their own channel, they do a lot of stuff. I know that, for example, there are some courses out there. For example, Unity provides another website which is filled with articles and videos, which is called Unity Learn. Also great for learning game development in Unity. You can also get some Udemy courses, I think, But I do think that one-on-one classes are great because you have that one person dedicated to sort of guiding you towards the right direction. If you can, that's great. But I do think that we live in a great moment, in a great situation for learning game development with everything that's in the internet. I do relate and empathize with the idea that it might be just hard to find that sweet spot of like, how do you get kickstarted? And so there's so many people doing stuff for that, and I do think that you know, the internet has a lot of resources, and if you can find a way to get motivated just by internet, then you can just do it by internet. But also, if your city, your local place has a great gaming education, or even online, perfect. That's a great way to learn. You would be sharing people knowledge with people, with other classmates. Other classmates would be sharing knowledge with you. So it's just a great interaction in general. Thank you so much for your question, the potato guy. What are the most important things to keep in mind while developing a game? That was the first question. The second question is, how do you make sure that the players would like the content? What is the most difficult part in developing a game? Okay, three questions. Sorry, that was the third one. So first question is, the most important thing to keep in mind while developing a game, I think, is that you will have to deliver a game. We people that work with games, we tend to be very, I think, artsy or very perfectionist. I myself am, but it's very important to remember that your game, at the end of the day, turns into a product. Even though it is an art form, it is a product, so it has to be ready. So there's no need to keep adding features to something forever and not finish the game if you don't have a game. So I do feel like you have to keep in mind that your game needs to be out there, right, at some point. And I also think that you should always put players into a priority, which kind of answers to your second question. So how do you make sure the players would like the content? Is constantly test, right? You need to constantly test your game, make people play it, make people see your concept early on so that you know it works. Sometimes we have ideas that we, on paper really seem like they will work, but sometimes it just doesn't react with the community. So it's always great to have like versions of your game, vertical slices that are playable that people can try early on to see how they feel about gameplay, how to feel about narrative, how to feel about sound, art, anything. So that's really good. And then third question is, what is the most difficult part in developing a game? Developing a game is super hard in general, but I think the most difficult part is finding that motivation to keep moving on when you get to the boring stages, and systems of controllers that you need to put in, compatibility and different devices and all these like things that can turn very systematic. Once you start working on a project that has a 2-year span of time, just like a 2-year project, then you're going to get bored really quick because you just want to do like smaller things. And then when you do the smaller things, you want to do bigger projects. So it's really hard to find motivations in either case, small and big. So I feel like that's the hard part. But a lot of people are successful and they find a way. And I think it's just a matter of like, keep trying, and you will definitely will find a way. Thank you for your question. Okay. I've always found game dev to be very logic intensive. I participated in a game jam and I felt that my teammate was carrying the part entirely by himself. Is there any way I can get better at this? That is a great question on my 428. I feel like, again, I truly believe that if you just participate in more game jams, or maybe try using an engine that's not so like logic intensive, or maybe try using a platform that allows you to make games very easily. And honestly, I've been into game jams where people make board games. And in board games, you can just build the logic with sort of paper, right? Rules of how your game works. And so try to find the best way that you can practice. I do believe that there are many things that you can use to make games that don't depend on code. So, but if you want to learn code, then again, try to find some resources to learn, to do stuff. Then you can slowly try other game jams and other game jams and get better and get better. But yeah, cool. Oh, hold on. There's more because I don't see the. Use Python. Well, it's important. I think if game engines will just make it easier, right? So that would be better if you can, if you want to. You should definitely use game engines because they will take out the hard parts or the complicated bulk of things, and you can just focus on your creativity and that stuff. Cool. But thank you so much for your question. Second, uh, after learning, so Anu says, after learning Unity for about a year, making stuff is not that difficult now. I can make many things that I can think of, but where I struggle is thinking of ideas. I can't ever think of ideas very quickly. That's a great point. I'm happy that you now feel more comfortable about making stuff. And honestly, research is fine if you want to do that to get better ideas. Play different things. If you have the ability and the willpower to just try new games. There are indie games being released every day. Just go to Humble Bundle, go into Steam, play games, go into game jams, see the games that people are making. I know that Game Maker's Toolkit makes a game jam that people make amazing games for that jam. So you could just keep playing stuff because you'll understand what makes you like excited about that game, and then you can also just like sort of put that in your brain, and it will help you uh, just get better ideas. I don't really know how to answer this because I don't think ideas are so abstract, right? I do think that if you play more, you will find more references, so you'll build a repertoire of amazing things that you can do for sure. But thank you. Oh, there you go. I'm gonna point that. I hope I'm pointing correctly, but Polkit just added some resources to things that can help you with your game development. So that's really good. Thank you. And yeah, I feel like the internet is around there, but events like this are also very useful to sort of help you with your learning, right? But yeah, cool. Let me just check out something really quick here. I think that's all the time that I have because as you can see, my Slack is already like buzzing and I don't know why I cannot take it away. And I apologize for that. But I do hope that this was useful. And I appreciate everyone that has been here and just watched and answered questions or just sort of watch it because it's really good for me. It's really important for us to be talking as a community. And I really appreciate for everyone that's organizing this event, and for you that's watching, that's great. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me there as Andre_MC, or you can see the YouTube channel I mentioned in the talk, which is Mix and Jam. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone watching.
Thank you so much for your talk, Andre. It was a really exciting session. I'd also like to thank everyone who attended, and that's it for today.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. Bye.